ever dealt with?
Yeah, by far, you know, and you know, it is what it is when you really look at the season as a whole. You know, with Chandler getting hurt the whole month of December, you know, and didn't come back out until first weekend of or second weekend, I believe, of February. You know, you just want to make sure they give him enough time to prepare himself and get ready. You know, so I think we all knew there was going to be a ranking match. You know, I mean, if I go back, could I change anything? I'm not sure I could have. You know, it just kind of we're Oklahoma State. We want to win dual meets. You know, and we need to put our best team out and be competitive. We take pride in that, and that's what we tried to do in the month of December, or excuse me, the month of January. You know, didn't have an idea that really when Preston Weigel got hurt in December, you know, to me it looked like it was a season-ending injury and definitely maybe career-ending injury. You know, him bouncing back and being back a little bit surprised us. You know, kind of started getting a lot of hopes in mid-January that there was a chance of him being back, and him being back in the lineup, you know, put another shift, you know, downward with our guys. So just is what it is, and you know, it's Chandler Rogers has been you know, an unbelievable student athlete for our program in this university, and I think he's made a big difference with a bunch of his teammates, just not in wrestling but in life in general, and the things he practices on a daily habits. Some of the things he practices has really rubbed off on several of our guys.
How has he kind of taken that?
He's a winner. You know, he's really disappointed. I think he understood, you know, that you know, the scenario existed, that it was going to happen, and you know, is he happy with it? Absolutely not. He's a competitor, you know, and I wouldn't expect him to be happy.
How tough was it for you? I mean, I had a conversation with Roger, and he said you kind of were over in the corner. I mean, it's kind of hard.
I actually didn't watch it. You know, I just yeah, they're both Stillwater kids, and you know, in the end, you know, it doesn't define him by any means. He's such a mature kid when it comes to, you know, understand the importance of things and when we need to move on, when we need to refocus. You know, he's been a kid that, you know, that I think his maturity level with a lot of things have really inspired a lot of other guys. You know, so you know, let's move on from this because it's really, you know, nowhere to go.
One more question. Roger and I were talking, and the closest he could come up with, I respect his opinion. He knows more about this stuff than any of us that are standing around you, was Byers and Rochal when they did this. And Byers went on to finish third. I mean, that's kind of the silver lining, isn't it? That the guy now, the survivor, he's carrying a lot of weight.
Well, you know, it is what it is. You know, I mean, right now we're not projected whether it was Chandler was in there or whether Joe's in there. Neither one of them are predicted to be All-Americans at the weight. You know, I mean, so there's a lot of hype on these two, but we have not put ourselves in a position through the season to be, you know, have a high seed and going into the nationals. You know, yeah, it's happened before, and it's happened with a lot of teams. The difference is you know, we lose another qualifier at 65, and that kills me because I know the conference is really growing. It's going up in numbers with our qualifiers, and I don't think I'll have another season like this. Maybe you have one every 10 years. I don't know, you know. But, you know, you would hope that they would take the body of work for a student athlete, what he's done all year, and take that into consideration when they're picking seeds. But it is what it is, and we knew it going in. So there's no surprises for us.
Do you expect extended conversation between all the coaches this weekend just about the process and with the descent program and just discussions about where does Joe, I mean, they're saying he might be an 8 seed or who knows? I mean, do you expect a lot of chatter between the coaches trying to figure out a way to address this so it doesn't happen again, or just
well, I don't think it's not really a matter of something happening again. It's just a matter of you know, there's scenarios within your team when you have injuries that you need to make adjustments if you want to win. You know, the NWCA, they want us to put importance on dual meets. You know, I do believe it's one of the areas that we have grown our sport, especially the last 4 or 5 years, is dual meets. You know, so unfortunately, you know, right now your dual meets wins or victories or losses don't count a whole lot towards the NCAA championship. You still have to perform in that scenario. So, you know, I don't know. It's just there's some scenarios that, you know, I think that I wish were differently. I think it'd be improving our sport, to continue to improve our sport. But there's been a lot of rules that have really probably helped our growth of our attendance at dual meets across the country. So a lot of the new rules have created a lot of action in our sport, you know. So although there's still some things you hope to change and make better, but there's been a lot of people that have done a lot of good things over the years that has moved folk style wrestling forward.
This aside, you're coming off that Iowa duel. I mean, it had to generate, I mean, the place was full. People, you know, were saying it was the loudest they could, at least the younger generation, saying the loudest they could remember that arena ever being. Has that momentum carried through with the work in the room toward postseason?
Yeah, you know, we've been in a lot of big dual meets, and that was, you know, a special one here, right? That's always going to be special, one we can talk about. You move pretty quickly, you know. You kind of recognize what it's for, and you know, it's a nice rivalry that we've had for a long time, and winning those rivalry dual meets, you know, means a lot to me. You know, it's big in my mind, you know, because I've lost them and I know what I feel like. So I think it's easy for this group. They've been in a bunch of dual meets on the road, at home, and it's easy for them to move forward and recognize it's a great win. Well, it's a great win and move forward. Go. We got to go. You know, what if you hit one of those guys next time? You know, they're going to remember, you know, be ready for them next time. You know, and that kind of tells me that you're growing, you know.
Is the plan to have Jacoby at 74 and Dakota at 84?
Uh-huh.
How have those guys done?
Well, you remember now, you know, our guys have been pretty light, you know, for a long time. You know, I mean, Dakota and Jacoby and Joseph is, you know, weighs out of practice, you know, a month ago, weighing out in the low 70s or high 60s, you know, losing, you know, 6 or 7 pounds in a hard workout. You know, that's not unusual. That's pretty easy. That's with the T-shirt on, you know. So Dakota and Jacoby, I mean, they had a hard time keeping their weight on, you know. So, you know, middle of January, we kind of knew this wasn't going to last too long because they just coming in undersized, you know, and actually Jacoby did a pretty good job, you know, competing at 84, you know, but so we kind of knew, you know, that it's going to be real tough for us to ever keep him up. And again, you know, there was a time in January where we had a lot of hope that Weigel was going to make it back. So it made it a little easier for us to say, hey guys, you know, it's okay that you're small at the weight class you're wrestling because you're going to get a chance to move back down.
It will have been a month since Dakota last wrestled because of just the way the lineup shaped out. How has he kept that mental edge and worked out knowing that he wasn't going to get to actually compete?
He's really excited. Real excited about wrestling again, you know. His weight is not an issue at 84. I think he had a harder time making it in November than he did now, you know, but which is understandable, you know. Maybe coming a little bit heavy after the summer months, but really there's not really an issue with his weight. And same with all three of those guys. There's no issues with weight, you know. It's pretty comfortable for him, and and I think they're probably wrestle their best at these weights that they're at.
You talked about automatic qualifiers. Obviously, the one weight that I'm sure a lot of concern is 157. The fact there's only one spot there. I mean, that puts a lot of pressure on White and really everyone at that weight in the conference tournament.
That's one I'm just not real sure of. I don't know how and why it didn't get one. He's ranked 23 in the country, and I don't know. You know, just again a system that seems to have you know, maybe a little error in it, maybe not. Maybe there's some justification. Sit down with someone and they show me why he didn't go in. I don't know. You know, I think his RPI wasn't real high, but he did beat a lot of good kids. Lost to some ugly ones early on. I think he's in pretty good shape. I think he has to have a good tournament in order to go. I think if he goes 0-2 or maybe even 2-2, he might not go. You know, but I think if he has some sort of tournament, I'm not going to put a number on where he needs to finish, but if some sort of tournament, there's a good chance he'll get qualified in. You know, so you know right now, when you look at our lineup, we have 4 guys that don't have automatic qualifiers. 5, half our team. So 57, 65, 74, 84, 97.
I know that's something that you've brought up the past weeks, you know, the
Yeah,
concern
you know,
about
it
that.
just, well, I just think that, you know, you have circumstances in the season. I get it. Well, maybe Joseph's never been down to the weight, you know, but it's not his fault. You know, trust me, you know, his mother's been on my butt about giving him an opportunity, and, you know, it's not his fault, you know. It didn't feel right about taking him down. We had an injury. We have 2-time All-American that's injured. We're not taking you down yet. You know, it's not the time. Let's make sure he gets back healthy, and we'll look at it. But if you've wrestled at a weight class and you're moving up in circumstances where there's injuries, I just, you know, I don't know why we can't honor those matches up. You know, Jacoby Smith has had some really good wins at 84. You know, so, you know, I think that we're so strict with our weigh-in rules and with our weight that it's hard to move a whole lot from there, you know. So it is what it is, and maybe we can look at it, maybe not. But I think that you know, it's a scenario that it was unfortunate for us this year, but at the same time, we get to wrestle in the best part of the season, and we have a team that we're looking forward to.
I guess ESPN gets the right to juggle the national championship night lineup the way they want. At least they have, to put whatever they think is the best match last. But other than that, the rest of the way you're going to be wrestling low weight to high weight. Anybody in this have a better starting pair to get you guys generated?
Yeah,
than
for the
Nick
Big 12, we're in good shape, you know, and you know, once these two go to nationals, it gets a lot more competitive. That 33 is deep. It's as deep as and tough as a weight as any weight I've ever seen in college wrestling ever. Whoever wins that weight should, you know, I've said it all year long, should be the outstanding wrestler. It's that good and it's that deep and it's that fun to watch. It's been fun watching that weight. You know, I've watched a lot of dual meets and I just go to 133 and watch that match. You know, other dual meets, not ours. You know, because you know, there's just so many wrestlers out there at 33. So, but we got a good 1-2 punch there, and we got to maintain our intensity at the weight classes and continue to get better each week. Anyone else? Okay.
Thanks, guys.